The Dragon is a commander that has stood the test of time since its debut back in 2017 and remains a top commander in the format. For a staggering 9 mana, you get a giant 10/10 flying dragon that has built-in card draw, but the real power comes from its eminence ability, giving all your dragon creatures a cost reduction just for having your commander on the battlefield or in the command zone. This ability is absurd, letting you basically play one turn ahead of everyone else as long as you're casting dragons. But today we aren't aiming to build the best or most optimized dragon deck. We are looking for style points. So in my attempt to power down the Dragon, we have a second secret commander within the deck. We will still be playing dragons, but the catch is every card within our deck will be a permanent except for one, Primal Surge. If you enjoyed today's video, consider subscribing to Common Command and leave a like on the video. If you're not familiar with Primal Surge, it is basically a 10 mana I win the game card for this deck. For 8 green, we flip the top card of our library and put it onto the battlefield if it's a permanent. We then repeat this process until we flip a non-permanent card. Since every card in our deck is a permanent, we will have our entire library transfer over to our battlefield. Now there is some confusion with Primal Surge and how it interacts with the stack that I would like to clear up. In this deck list that I will soon explain, we will include effects similar to Kiora Behemoth Beckoner and Dragon Tempest. Dragon Tempest will quickly add tons of damage to our opponents with each dragon entering, while Kiora will force us to draw when an appropriate creature enters and possibly make us lose the game due to having no cards left in our library. However, the way Magic works is that the card must completely resolve before any other effects are put onto the stack. Once Primal Surge finishes flipping our deck, all of our ETB effects then get put onto the stack at the same time, allowing us to order and resolve our stack in our favor. Now you will still have to follow the order in which cards are flipped, but can place them on the stack however you would like to resolve. For example, if Dragon Tempest is the last card you flip when resolving Primal Surge, all the dragons that enter off Primal Surge will not trigger your Dragon Tempest. On the other hand, if both Dragon Tempest and Kiora Behemoth Beckoner are on the field when you cast and resolve Primal Surge, you can stack your triggers to where all the damage from Dragon Tempest resolve first. I am 99% sure that this is how Primal Surge interacts with the stack, and for those who have the rulings and verbiage to back my claims, feel free to share them in the comments. Another easy fix to this is by including a Laboratory Maniac, but for now, we'll move on. With only permanents in our deck, we will heavily rely on artifacts as our source of ramp. But again, we don't need too much ramp since our commander already gives us a major advantage. Think of the Dragon's Eminence ability as starting the game of Magic with the Wasteland already on the field. We are including the basic ramp package of Soul Ring, Thought Vessel, Fellwar Stone, and Arcane Signet. Boring but very efficient. Chromatic Lantern also makes the cut to completely alleviating us of color fixing our mana. Carnelian Orb of Dragonkin is a bit much for only producing 1 red mana, but it will give the dragons that we cast haste. With our commander, Ravaz of the Claw is a 2 mana creature that produces 2 mana for our other dragons. Oh, and did I mention it lets us cast dragons from our graveyard? A perfect and on-theme include. Herald's Horn is a recent reprint that is a must-have for any tribal deck, and with Urza's Incubator also getting a much-needed reprint, we might as well pick one of those up too. The cost reductions pair perfectly with our commander. Lastly, Domri Anarch of Bolas not only ramps us either a green or red, but makes creatures we play for the rest of the turn uncounterable. Now, in order for the deck to be consistent and efficient, you need steady card draw, no matter what kind of gimmick you build around. Now, there is no shortage of card draw for a deck like this. We are spoiled with cards like Tamir Ascendancy, Garruk's Uprising, Elemental Bond, Kiora Behemoth Beckoner, Guardian Project, and Colossal Majesty. Some of those cards have added effects like giving haste, trample, and ramp. Dragonborn Champion will allow us to benefit from all of our big attacks, but what happens when our game-shaping creatures are removed? Well, Bladewing the Risen, Palace Siege, Phyrexian Reclamation, and Teneb the Harvester will have our creatures making a second appearance. While we're at it, let's also make sure that the creatures we cast get to do their part immediately with haste from cards like Lightning Greaves, Dragon Tempest, and Rhythm of the Wild. The biggest concern we should probably have with a deck like this is removal. We've got no access to the popular board wipes that can help us catch up in a losing game. Steel Hellkite is a perfect include to rid of specific permanents, even better if there are multiple cards with the same CMC. Scale Lord Reckoner will make our opponents think twice about removing our dragons, really making it an eye for an eye. Terror of the Peaks and Scourge of Valkis will make our horde of dragons deal real damage while also being finishers for our Primal Surge. Okugachi Vengeful Spirit is the definition of pity and will let us exile any permanent from a player we hit that attacked us the previous turn. Finally, Vivictus Asmadi the Dire is an awesome 4/4. It will let us make our opponents sack whatever permanents we choose while letting us trade something small for one of our bigger hitters. I also want to go over alternative win conditions for a deck like this, so we've included Hellkite Charger and Aggravated Assault. We've got plenty of ways of making mana when we attack with our dragons, letting us take infinite combats. Before we move on to the terrorizing dragons of the deck, but after you like the video, there are a few utility cards I'd like to mention that are too good not to include. The Prismatic Bridge is such a fun card that lets a random creature or planeswalker from our library enter play. Its flip side also acts as much needed ramp when needed. Descendant's Path plays out very similarly, letting us put the top card of our deck into play if it shares a creature type with a creature on board. Lurking Predators is another fun flip that card minigame that gives us creatures from the top of our deck when our opponents simply cast spells. Joda the Unifier and Emoti Celebrant of Bounty are extremely fun cards that let us double up on any big spells that we cast. Playing the random game is a great way to mix up your Magic playstyle. This last section of the deck is the best part. It's the meat, the creatures that will tune out wins and get you to threat level midnight. There are so many dragons across Magic's various sets, so always include those that you will have the most fun with. Really take control of this section. Now there are obvious must-haves like Two-Headed Hellkite, Scion of the Ur-Dragon, or Dragonlord Tremoka, but besides those, let your imagination run wild. On screen are some of my favorite dragons that I think you should consider including. Zerlon of the Claw is just amazing, letting you tutor and attack with a dragon from your deck, while Wasatora Nakoro Queen makes some of the cutest tokens Magic has ever created. To see a complete deck list of this build, visit the TCG player link below. Any purchases made with that link or the affiliate link will help support the channel and in turn allow me to continue to make great content. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like and subscribing for more EDH content.